Hello my dear friends and colleagues, Martin here again. In this maybe shorter tutorial I will just show you my techniques, so some basic techniques in ink drawing with a tip pen. I will show you the techniques I use when drawing something like these cards. Okay, here only we have ships, sorry. Yeah, and of course these splatters, these splashes, you always ask about how I do it. These are with color, a raven, and this mostly done with tip and steel pens. And here I have only some of them. Over the years I really got many of different nib holders. Many tip holders, many different steel nibs. The mainly different is that there are some very flexible ones. This one I use for making the splashes, and this is also a little bit flexible. This one is dedicated for my splashes, and the normal. Oh, this is a little bit dirty. And stiffer, harder steel nibs. And then we will shade it a little bit with water. So as long as the ink isn't dry, so when it's wet, it's water soluble, then I use always inks that are waterproof, because when I color them afterwards or shading afterwards, I want that the line stays and don't smudge or do something like this. In the video description you will find a link to the Amazon tools, a list of my Amazon tools I use, and you can order there. So I fill this waterproof ink from these big bottles because they are cheaper when you buy it in a 1 liter or half liter, and then I fill it in some smaller mugs. And one more brush maybe we need. Okay, the first thing, very important, you need a paper towel or a napkin and another bigger mug that we can use this safely and that it don't spill over the drawing. So I always collect these mugs from takeaway food from the restaurants, and perfect to keep the smaller mugs here. And I'll show you here. This is my sketchbook. Maybe you know these drawings from previous videos or from my Instagram account. And some of them are made with fountain pen, are drawn with fountain pen. And some of them with the steel nibs. And we can use this page. So first, what's the reason to use not a fountain pen, to use a tip pen? So is that you have more variations in the different steel nibs, as I explained, and so you get various line thickness, and so it's a more dynamic, a more living line. So let's take this one. I would suggest that you, when you start with it, to buy a collection of different steel nibs. They are available in your art store or online, and there are 10 or 20 different nibs, and then you can decide which to use further on. And therefore there is the company Brause, who offers many different, for all needs, many different steel nibs, also available online. Okay, so when we I always start my drawings with a baseline, and there you see this nice variation possibilities. So, and here you see what I will show you with this nib. So first we have this little bush in the foreground, and you see when I against the direction when I'm going, this is the, let's say, normal direction, and then when I draw backwards, then I bend the nib, and then suddenly it snaps back, and with this snapping back, then you get this nice splashes. So we can now draw within this, and let's say this is something like a bush, and then here behind this bush there is the trunk of the tree, and it's going upwards there. And here's another branch, the shadows on these leaves, and then I just do some nice small circles and curves, and that's everything I do. Then there is another smaller branch. Important when you're drawing trees, only keep in mind that at the basic, the trunk is thicker, then it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. It would be looking a little bit weird when you have a bigger branch than here in the crown of the tree than you have in the basic, in the base ground here. So we do this here. Then we can do here some contrast. So maybe there is something behind another bush, and this one is in the shadow. So we go around the splashes here and here. From the nibs, the company is Browser, and so this is not sponsored, this video. Yes, I buy them by myself, but they have dedicated and it's written on the label, very flexible. So extra flexible nibs where you can do this bending of the tip, and they are called number 66. Yes, 66. But as I told you, you will find a list of my most used tools, an Amazon list in the link in the video description. Oh, and I think that looks quite nice. So here, and then I show you in a second drawing a little hut, a house or something like this, or a farmer house. And for that it is more, there is cleaning the house in the background. Hopefully the noise doesn't disturb too much. So, and let's say now we have a house behind this bush. So let's say it's coming here, the lower end of the roof, and then here I go with the ground, and here I have this one, and then we will use this not dried, so these wet parts of the ink for shading. And I'll show you the effect in a second. But I need water for this. So here we have a cup of water, and here I have brushes. So these are a natural brush. You see, this takes very much liquid, but the problem is they are, let's say, smoother, and when you want to control the brush strokes more effectively, and when you're a beginner, I would recommend to use these snappy synthetic fibrous hair, and this is maybe a little bit easier to control when you start with working with brushes. Anyway, I take this one, water, and I hope it's already not dry. Ah, yeah. And back, so let's start here that we don't, yeah. You see, and we get a nice gray tone here. And of course you can dry your brush with the napkin and then push this back so that we have the shadow only under the roof. And the same, we can take a look here. But be careful, don't gray everything. You see here, maybe we should wait a little bit longer, but you can play around here with your fingers. And then with a dry brush, you can do so. And then let's do some shadows in between this one and the part here. And you see when the line work is dry, then it's okay. This wasn't dry because these are the thicker lines. It is of course waterproof. So these are what you see here is that these parts are not dry. As I told you, these splashes need their time to dry. But you can use a hair dryer if you want. So then it's okay. Then here we have in the background. So I would suggest that we let this now dry and then work over it with line work for this roof. So I take a paper towel to remove here and there. There is, it's now dry. Let's remove here, pick up some of the wet parts. But that's a good starting point for something more texture here, more leaves and bushes here, and maybe one tree here in the background, and a darker one, and then the house in the foreground, this building pops a little bit more up, and then we will do here some fences. Okay. Okay, while this is drying, some explanation about hatching and cross hatching. This is, by the way, the nib, this browser nib, you hear it. There you can do these sparkles, these flashes as well. And this one is a very stiff one, you know. There you would more destroy the paper than doing this, to use this technique. Okay, what I want to show you. I used this cross hatching a lot when in younger years, but nowadays, let's try this. Yeah, you see this doesn't work. So you can concentrate on your line work. And for darker parts, so when we have here a hole in the crown of the tree and then there is a trunk, I like more just hatching. So no cross hatching, hatching there. Or at the bottom, where the big trunk is here, only these in one direction. If you like this, of course you can do cross hatching. But when I need more darker parts, then I would recommend a brush or a brush pen. This pocket brush pen. Pens are very usable when you're on the go, on the way. Okay, that's too less ink, more ink here. And then we do here more darker parts. Well, this one here. And you see these synthetic brushes have a nice fine tip. And there we leave this a little bit lighter, this trunk. And here we can do some more shadows as well. Some more black leaves here. See? Show you this a little bit bigger. And then back to the steel nib. And let's say the sun is coming from more the right side. And then you can also try to flip upside down the steel nib, and maybe you get then some finer lines. And then we take our first nib, and then we do some. Okay, this is a finer one where we have, this is the big one with big splashes, I think. But this is really a thing you should practice and try and error with different steel nibs. You see this, yeah. So maybe there's a little bit too much, but we can use these wet splashes for the shading the ground or the background. Here, so. And this is not a watercolor paper, this is really a cheaper paper, but it works anyway. So, and now we got too much, as I told you before, to let it dry. And maybe I can, when we use watercolor paper, you can lift up it more easily, but this paper soaks very quickly the ink into the paper, into the surface. And so let's say we have, this is the background of this tree in the foreground. So now let's yeah, this is dry now, and let's do here some the roof. So here, very easy part. And of course, when you want here more shadow, I do a thicker line with the ink, and then one more time with water. Maybe not so much water, so I tried a little bit. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And now we get this nice shadow here. And then we use only the water. This is now gray, of course, this used water, and we do the ground. And as you see here, these lines are now dry, and so they are waterproof. And we have a nice ink drawing in about, how much, 10 minutes or less. Let's do here some shadows inside and here on the bottom of the tree. You can also do some sparkles here, and this is a way, so when I make a mistake or a line goes wrong, I'll just make some splashes and it's fine, you know. Let's do here. The background here. And you lift it up. Funny, dynamic, expressive way to make sketches with ink. And all these variations and techniques are with these tip pens, with these steel pens, not with fountain pens, not with fine liners. This is why I use them so often. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little course and see you next time. Bye.